We have multiple New York Rangers updates to go over today as Gabe Perreault is officially making his NHL debut. We're going to get into that as well as some injury updates and, of course, the current playoff outlook and where the Rangers stand compared to other teams. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest. But before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 68% of you who watch these videos are not actually subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the New York Rangers, it's free. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Now we have a lot to get to today. Of course, Gabe Perreault, we knew it was going to come, but he is officially making his NHL debut tonight against the Minnesota Wild at home with the New York Rangers at MSG. And we're going to get into that. But before we do that, I wanted to mention this because this is really cool. I mean, really, really cool. And Vince Mercogliano had this first on Twitter last night. And a fun programming note, it sounds like longtime broadcast partners Sam Rosen and John Davidson will reunite to call the April 9th game between the Flyers and the New York Rangers on TNT. That will be nostalgic for many Rangers fans, I'm sure. And what a great send-off there. And one of the last games of the season for Sam Rosen. The fact that they're giving him this opportunity and John Davidson this opportunity together to call that game together is just absolutely fantastic. And I think I just wanted to mention that because it's going to sound very nostalgic for a lot of fans and a great send-off for Sam Rosen. So I'm glad they're doing it right. I wish they were making the playoffs. They were in the President's Trophy race again. I really wish that, but they could still make the playoffs, maybe send them off with a playoff game, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I'm glad they're doing it right in terms of everything off ice, at least, for Sam Rosen's farewell tour. But let's get right into it. Gabe Perreault will make his NHL debut tonight against the Minnesota Wild, and that is from Coach Peter Laviolette. And Peter Laviolette had some interesting things to say following morning skate this morning. We have a bunch of updates from morning skate that we are going to get to. And one thing that stood out to me is, a lot of people have been questioning whether Gabe Perreault is ready for the NHL. And he said they've trained and prepared to get to this point where we're at right now. Some guys will come in and will have an impact right away. And there's some guys, they find it a more difficult path and a more difficult road. The only way to find out is to find out. So very uncharacteristic, I think, here from Peter Laviolette, where I feel like, usually without actually saying it, he'll come out and say, I'm not playing you because you're a young player. But he is saying here that, Gabe Perreault looks like will get a shot here in the top six. We covered that yesterday. He will be in one of the, he'll be on the second line, right? At least to start. And he's going to be given that opportunity. And I think it's pretty exciting. So interesting quote here from Peter Laviolette that, it's pretty much sink or swim to a degree, but, we're going to at least give you the opportunity to swim, unlike some other players in the past, some other younger talent. Now, included in this morning's optional skate, morning skate that is, Matt Rempe was on the ice in a regular jersey. So we, discussed this in a video yesterday that he was in a no contact jersey. He's now skating in a regular jersey. So it looks like he's actually nearing a return very soon. That could be some good news there for the Rangers because he's been fantastic on the fourth line when he has been playing. So especially since he got suspended earlier this season. Ever since that 8-game suspension, I think he's been putting in some really good minutes, been really effective there on the fourth line. So credit to Matt Rempe because that's what he wanted to accomplish last season in the offseason, and that's exactly what he's doing. So he was on the ice for optional morning skate, and he's in a regular jersey. So pretty good news there. We'll get back into some Gabe Perreault stuff in a little bit, including some quotes and stuff. Igor Shesterkin starting again for the Rangers against the Wild. No real surprise there. Jonathan Quick has been good, but with a couple days rest, it makes sense for Igor to go in again tonight. And he's going to have a big game. This is not a game that he can be off. He needs to have a big game against the Wild. This is a must win. They have to win out basically the rest of the season, especially because of what the Montreal Canadiens just did. And we'll get to that later in the video. And speaking of the optional morning skate, on the ice for the optional skate, Zach Jones, Alexis Lafreniere, Matt Rempe, Gabe Perreault, Calvin DeHaan, Jonathan Quick, Brett Berard, Nicholas Aube-Kubel, Urho Vakanainen, Brennan Othman, and of course Juuso Parssinen, all on the ice for optional skate. Now, some of the top guys not there. I like the fact that Alexis Lafreniere is on the ice. He's been struggling, and he's there at optional morning skate working on some stuff. Matt Rempe, like we just mentioned, Gabe Perreault, of course, making his NHL debut. I'm glad that he's there. Zach Jones, but some of the other guys not there. Brennan Othman as well. He's been playing well, right, since being called up to the NHL, and I think he belongs in the NHL. Out there as well for the morning skate. So just that to note today. And Again, some of the last skaters on the ice were. This is interesting to note as well, and keep in mind that the last skaters on the ice tonight, or this morning, I should say, ahead of tonight's game, Zach Jones, Calvin DeHaan, Matt Rempe, and Juuso Parssinen. So I think you're looking at your healthy scratches tonight, which could be interesting because Zach Jones is going to come out. Juuso Parssinen has seen some time in the last couple games. Calvin DeHaan, since being traded for, has really not played, and Matt Rempe, of course, is still dealing with the injury. So pretty interesting. This could be your healthy scratches for tonight's game against the Minnesota Wild. Now, big game against the Wild. We'll wrap it up there in terms of that. I want to get into some more stuff about Gabe Perreault because this is really what everyone's going to be watching tonight for. And this is a great article from Vince Mercogliano. And there hasn't been this much buzz about a New York Rangers prospect debut since Alexis Lafreniere was drafted in 2020. I think that's true. I mean, all eyes are on Gabe Perreault tonight and what he's going to be able to do, especially with JT Miller. I'm very excited to watch that. So tonight, the Gabe Perreault era will begin at MSG at home. He's a little nervous, but he knows that it's a part of what's going to happen. And of course, wearing number 94, just like his father before him, which I think is pretty cool. And some quotes that I thought were interesting included was the Peter Laviolette from earlier in the episode in this article. And he said that, this is Gabe Perreault, I've been talking to Rangers team president Chris Drury quite a bit over these past couple of weeks, trying to make the decision. He said, it wasn't easy, but I just thought it was time to take the next step. So clearly they've been talking about this for a couple weeks. Am I going to make the jump to the NHL? Am I ready? And I think both parties agreed that, yes, he's ready. And I'm very excited to see what type of an impact he's going to have on not just the game tonight, but because he's got to settle into the NHL game. I do wonder, how much he plays tonight, but not just the game tonight, but the effect that he has on the rest of the team. And let's see how he plays, right? And he might be able to put the team not on his shoulders. I don't want to put that much pressure on him. And I said that in a couple of videos ago, but him pushing the pace, if he's constantly trying to score, all, the moves that he's going to make, all of that stuff that he's going to bring to the table, I wonder if it pushes everybody else on the team to be that much better. So I'm excited to see how that looks. And in terms of Chris Kreider, we touched on this yesterday. He has an opportunity to, usher in this new era and help, a player like Gabe Perreault come up who played for the same team that he did. And same thing happened with Brian Boyle in 2012 as well. He said he's similar to a lot of the kids coming up right now. He's got a ton of skill, great vision, really good edges, really shifty, sees the ice well. He can slow it down, use his line mates, and knows how to get open. It's a really special skill set. So again, everyone's excited to watch this guy play. Included in that is me. I'm very excited to watch this game tonight and see what he can do for this team and how we can kind of prop up some of his line mates as well, like Alexis Lafreniere, see if he can get him going as well, which is kind of crazy to say because you'd think it'd be the opposite, right? But nonetheless, last thing we'll touch on before we wrap up here is the current playoff outlook right now. And tonight was far from ideal from the New York Rangers playoff hopes. Obviously last night with the Montreal Canadiens coming back in dramatic fashion in overtime, a comeback win for the Habs and another win for the Blue Jackets leaves the Rangers 2 points behind Montreal for the final wildcard spot and tied with Columbus, who still have a game in hand and an edge in points percentage. Now keep in mind, the Habs and a bunch of other teams had a bunch of games in hand. They don't anymore. The Rangers are tied with pretty much everyone, I think, except for Columbus at this point in time. So keep that in mind, that the Rangers are 2 points behind, but the games in hand do not matter as much anymore because they're basically tied. So we'll see what happens after tonight. You have to get the leg up on Columbus at this point in time because they do have a few of the tiebreakers on you. But, Montreal with a dramatic win, but you can do yourself a favor here by winning this game against the Minnesota Wild. So we will see what happens tonight. Let me know in the comments if you're excited to see Gabe Perreault's debut in the NHL at MSG. And of course, let me know what you think about Matt Rempe, the rest of the lineup, some of the healthy scratches and decisions, the quote from Peter Laviolette. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.